The lack of war between Ukraine and Russia will be broken in Crimea about the continued resistance to Russia's last war of conquest in 2022. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said that it started with Crimea. It will end with Crimea. Reclaiming the peninsula is perhaps Kiev's most ambitious war goal, extending to the Black Sea and bordering the Sea of Azov. On one side, Crimea is a vital piece of the regional strategic puzzle and key to protecting lucrative commercial shipping routes. But Ukraine will have to fight hard for such an award. Russian forces are reportedly preparing their approach from the peninsula and southern Ukraine for a counterattack in this direction. Smoke rose from the Kerch Bridge when the Russian Black Sea Fleet spyship was attacked by 3 drones at dawn last morning. An official from Crimea's Russian-backed administration said the Kerch Bridge, which connects the Crimean Peninsula to Russia's Krasnodar region, reopened on Wednesday after being closed for a few hours for drills. The Crimean bridge was closed due to the exercise in the region, said Sergei Aksionov, the head of Crimea annexed by Putin. Aksionov said that traffic will be back to normal in a few hours. I urge everyone to trust only reliable sources of information upon these statements of the Crimean official. The inhabitants of the peninsula were seriously worried because Crimea is a critical region that is constantly the scene of airstrikes. For this reason, the inhabitants of the peninsula accelerated their escape plans after Aksionov's statements, and even people selling their houses in Crimea appeared. The people of the peninsula do not want to live in a great chaos environment. In this regard, the Russian authorities are trying to appease the people in Crimea by hiding the existence of the danger. Moscow uses its own media powers for this because, as Russian media reported, that the smoke on the Crimean bridge was the result of a military exercise. But video footage posted on Telegram showed white smoke rising from the bridge's main central opening and more smoke rising from one of the crossing points in recent days. Russia has banned all trucks from the bridge, citing security concerns. When Putin's deputy prime minister announced the decision, the local radio station posted footage of him smoking on the Kerch Bridge on social media. This video circulating on social media shows a huge cloud of smoke rising from the Crimean bridge. They also shared photos and videos showing the dense smoke rising above the walkway. Vehicle queues to Russia were seen on the occupied peninsula. A drone attack on May 3rd triggered a massive explosion at an oil depot near the bridge, raising suspicions that the Ukrainian armed forces might try to mount another attack. The Crimean bridge connects the Taman Peninsula in mainland Russia with a currently Russian-occupied Ukrainian Kerch Peninsula. A Russian official stated that an oil depot located near the strategically important Kerch Strait Bridge, which connects Russia with Crimea, burned down. Veniamin Kondratiev, governor of southern Russia's Krasnodar region, reported on his Telegram channel that an oil storage tank caught fire in the village of Volna, near the port of Taman, and the fire was classified as the highest severity. Volna is located near the Kerch Strait Bridge, Russia's only land link with the illegally annexed Crimean Peninsula and an important supply route for Russian forces amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. The latest fire came days after Russia blamed Ukraine for another fire at an oil depot in the Crimean port of Sevastopol. At that time, traffic on the Crimean bridge was temporarily stopped by the invaders due to the alleged threat of missile attack. These explosions on and around the Kerch Bridge come days after a former Ukrainian advisor said a Kiev counterattack would target the strategically vital Kerch Strait Bridge connecting Russia to Crimea. Alexei Arestovich, who served as an advisor to the Ukrainian presidency until he resigned earlier this year, suggested that one of the targets of Ukraine's counterattack could be an operation in the south of the country to try to separate the Russians from the land corridor leading to Crimea. Zelensky promised last summer to reverse Russia's 9-year illegal annexation of Crimea. In recent weeks, extensive fortifications have been spotted off the coast of Crimea, and the Russians have asked a pole naval base as Russia prepares for the Ukrainian advance. According to Arestovich, the Ukrainian armed forces will launch an attack on the Kerch Bridge, which is Russia's only land link with the annexed Crimean Peninsula. He said the Crimean Bridge would be the only supply channel for the peninsula if the Ukrainian troops succeed in closing the narrow isthmus that connects Crimea with the mainland of Ukraine, according to Arestovich. If the Ukrainian armed forces manage to destroy it, the peninsula will be left without help, Arestovich said. We will demolish the Crimean Bridge. All this is possible under certain conditions. We are currently adjusting the conditions, beginning with Ukraine's long-awaited spring counter-offensive. Retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, formerly the commander of the U.S. Army Europe, laid out the key formations from which Kiev troops could capture Crimea. Mr. Hodges said there are various ways Ukrainians think about it. Obviously, they know the geography, the history, the weather. They know what the Russians are up to there. I think that they have near-perfect intelligence on what's going on in the Crimea. And I certainly hope we've helped. Kiev will not be able to secure commercial shipping in the Black Sea unless it liberates the peninsula. If the Russians continue to control Crimea because of some kind of peace treaty, Ukraine will never be able to rebuild its economy because Crimea blocks entry and exit to the Sea of Azov. What can Kiev do to mitigate the Russian threat from Crimea? Ben Hodges said you're going to isolate the peninsula first. When you look at the map, it starts to look more and more like a trap, perhaps a dead end for the Russians. And you can isolate it by cutting the land bridge first. The land bridge stretching from the southwestern Russian border west of Rostov-on-Don to occupy Donetsk, Mariupol, Berdyansk, Melitopol and the Dnieper River is Moscow's greatest achievement in more than a year of war. Russia's land corridor from south to east of Ukraine allows it to better supply the Crimean Peninsula, which is dependent on the Kerch Strait Bridge. A Ukrainian journey south from Zaporizhia and east from Kherson could endanger this vital corridor if Ukrainian forces can reach the threshold of Crimea. Many of the peninsula's most sensitive military and infrastructure targets will be in range. Ukrainian troops will have proven adept at using domestic technology as well as long-range Western munitions to target Russian command posts, troop concentrations, and supply centers. Crimea offers multiple targets, including the Sevastopol Naval Base and the Saki Air Base, both of which have already been attacked. Kiev will have to make a decision on what to do with the Kerch Strait Bridge, which was targeted by Ukrainians last year. The bridge was sensationally attacked last October, causing significant structural damage. This file aerial photograph taken on November 8, 2022, and published by the Russian Federal Highway Agency Razov, shows that the repair work on the damaged sections of the Kerch Bridge connecting Russia to Crimea hit by the explosion on October 8, 2022. Car and rail traffic stopped after the explosion on the Crimean Bridge, which damaged both lines in October 2022. The 12-mile road and rail bridge was damaged in an explosion last October in an attack that the Kremlin says was orchestrated by Ukrainian security forces. But Ukraine has not claimed responsibility. Crimea was annexed from Ukraine by Russia in 2014. But is internationally recognized as part of Ukraine. Ukraine had previously managed to attack a Russian warship. They had managed to hit Russia's flagship Moskva, and the ship then caught fire and sank. In April, pictures that emerged after the ship sank appeared to have been taken from a salvage ship next to the crashed Russian warship. There was damage to the left side of the ship, flames burning below deck, and a thick layer of black smoke rising into the sky. Moskva is shown leaning on the port side, low in the water, and apparently deployed lifeboats without any crew on board in sight. The rear helicopter door of the ship was also open. This indicated that the plane had taken official. It also looked like there was a fire truck behind the ship spraying water into the air. In summary, the clues that emerged later reveal that the Moscow administration actually hid some critical data from the press and its own people. But sooner or later, the truth comes out. Ukrainians also declare that they will eventually liberate Crimea, but Russia ignores this.